5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey everyone, welcome to the second episode of the Moonteapodcast. I'm Jon.
And I'm Hugh.
And we're not sure what we're going to talk about today, but let's talk for the next 45 minutes, 50 minutes.
Cool. And then I've got to run. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's terrible when you have plans and then you kind of say, hey, I got free tickets to a baseball game that's outdoors. I need to be a better person.
Yeah, it's fine. It's all good. So there's some stuff we can talk about. Great start to the podcast. It's okay, no one's listening. Was there anything that you wanted to talk about in particular?
No, and let's see. How's the week, dude? Let's just start this. All right. So what was how's your week and your past week? You know?
Yeah, it's fine. I went from Portland to Seattle on Saturday, and work was there's a lot going on with people asking for stuff and stuff to fix, the usual. And
that's cool.
I'm just like still trying to go to the gym. Got my coworker to agree to train for a triathlon with me, and so I'm gonna start training today.
Cool. What triathlon? What length?
Well, I would like to do an Olympic, but it's his first time, so we might need to start with a sprint. But yeah, I don't have a pool and I don't have a bike out here, but I can run, so I'll do something to get in triathlon shape. Other than that, I'm like the prospect of working on this podcast makes me pretty excited, I guess. Like I feel like I'm building something, even though we're just chatting.
Dude, I saw our first episode and I was just like, what? A lot of credit to Jon. He did a lot of the YouTube. It was amazing. It came out so well. I was like, wow, I can actually send something. I showed my mom, showed my dad, sent to my sister, friends.
Yeah. So the second podcast episode is going to be about us talking about our first podcast episode.
Well, I actually do think that's like a really interesting point. So genuinely though, like I know this is meant to be kind of organic and kind of no form at all in a sense, but also with the idea of talking about craft community and the pursuit of building meaningful careers. With that though, I am curious of whether or not just ad lib, we didn't really plan something for the second meeting in the sense of, I'm wondering, Jon, usually our combos kind of just tangent into really interesting aspects. And right now, even before we have the ability to bring on random people for random conversations, that would be really cool. While we ramp up to that, what are your thoughts on just kind of, should we have had a topic before we even started this convo, because we're already 5 minutes in and I feel kind of bad. Maybe we should do a bit better next time. We had 37 views on our first YouTube video, which isn't too bad, but I feel bad already.
I was probably like 4 of them on different devices.
I won't lie, me too.
Well, maybe this title can be should we have thought of a topic? Very meta.
Oh man, this is so meta. Yeah, I guess we can converse about that one. Like, what? Maybe we brainstorm even. Like, should we be the meta? Like, do we even want to like an episode that's meta on what we would like to talk about on a detailed level, where we list it out, Or do we just kind of scratch everything, press stop, never let anyone hear this,
no.
restart?
We're gonna run with it.
Okay. Terrible.
But yeah, I think what could be helpful is if we like I've watched a few interviews and I've like listened to various podcast episodes. So like it would be cool to like during the week as we listen to that stuff or as we consume that kind of content, we just kind of write down notes, and probably as those kinds of notes are probably tied to questions and like things that are interesting to talk about. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure we can like get in the habit of doing that.
I love it. All right, so let's see. What came to mind as you said that was right now, to bring everything together in my own world, is we're working at work on product, and for tech it's called product management, and we were doing some competitive research, and some people have Kanban boards where they show what their features are that they're going to be working on in the future.
Mm-hmm.
But we were like, that gives a competitive edge to people outdoors from what we've heard from others. So it's like not a good idea in that realm. But here it would be interesting. What if, and I'm also trying to find things that are like kind of get me up in the morning on a weekend that would be fun for me to work on, to maybe help on. What if we made like on our moonteapodcast.com, what if we made a URL that kind of is a very, very basic to-do list? And then I'm wondering if we can make it kind of like crowdsourced between the two of us, but just open source, where people can kind of literally us at first just drop ideas down for next week podcast, and then we can kind of like priority map them, and or have people kind of like plus vote things like a Reddit. And if that could be a fun side project, I'd be interested, because I don't know. It would be something for me to kind of nerd out on. Could be fun.
Yeah, if you make it into something that can be rendered as a static site, then it's pretty straightforward to add to GitHub pages.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, feel free
running
to
off GitHub pages right now. I forgot. That makes sense.
Yeah. So feel free to work on anything and whatever, and we can just do like a moonteapodcast.com / topics or something like.
I like that. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I also have a list of projects that I want to tackle down, and I guess it's kind of like a Saturday or Sunday kind of thing when I just feel like I want to build something.
Yeah,
So
I'm like looking for inspiration on Saturday and Sunday, not gonna lie. Like I have a few ideas that, yeah, it would be cool to have the topics URL or something. I know we have a Trello board, but it would just be kind of fun to build stuff at the same time. Like I know one of our favorite topics is blockchain, crypto, open source, and development and stuff, and tech. So I was wondering if, and I was looking into it, and I was wondering if we could just make a note, and we will, is Clubhouse is interesting. I'm wondering if we could record live on it, a Q&A, and also kind of on like a Saturday morning at 10 a.m. have like a coffee hour of Moontea Project. And kind of just, I was thinking of a title being like AMA, blockchain, crypto, open source tech or something, right? And we're just there. But the goal is not for us to actually dominate the conversation. The goal would be for us to kind of push forward a conversation and see what people are asking. And then possibly, because I was talking to my sister about this, and she had a really good idea. Thanks, Julia. A really good idea of like maybe using that kind of as a place to figure out what people are asking, and then we could address them more in detail on an actual recorded session. While also we could record those as like 30-minute one-offs and have them be interesting, like side uploads or something.
Yeah, that's interesting. I like that.
Yeah, because it would be fun to talk more about just crypto and have people live in convos, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like another flavor of the podcast.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm done for that.
Okay, cool. We can try that this week or next weekend.
I think we just have to figure out, number one, how to record on Clubhouse. And then,
if whether it's against the terms and agreements or not. But my sister, because I remember that one gentleman we talked with,
Oh yeah, he said it was
He
hard
said
to
it
do.
was illegal against the terms and conditions, but
Uh,
I also then heard from my sister. She's like, I thought I saw some people doing it and they just put live or recording in the title. And I was like, oh, like maybe we can get around that. And if we get banned, we get banned. But as long as people are, whenever they're in and they're talking, are kind of verbal agreements are interesting, right? I do think they hold weight, especially if you're like anybody you quote unquote bring up to the front or the stage is like, this recorded, that cool. Yeah. Then you go. I think it should be fine.
oh, I see. So that if you say in the Clubhouse room that it's being recorded, then people consent to that going in.
That's what I'm wondering, right?
Nice.
Because, yeah, I do think verbal agreements are contractually binding as long as it's proof. And then if not, they'll tell us and give us a hand slapping. Maybe
Yeah,
worth the
and
risk.
then I guess we can also like record our faces, but then we use the Clubhouse audio so
Yeah,
that
yeah.
people have a not in my case, but in your case, a pretty face to look at. So
Oh my
just some
goodness.
eye candy.
Are you kidding? Dude, you are actually a beautiful man. Your glasses, I love how they look on you too. Like you're so fashionable. And if you guys can see on the video, if you're listening to a podcast, sorry, but he's wearing this a sweet avocado hat, right? Your avocado
Dude,
hat.
check that shit
Oh,
out. Oh yeah.
so good. Oh yeah. This man even
That's
has avocado socks. We once went camping together and my oh my. He was decked out. He looked good. We had this sunset shot behind his head. Do you remember that shot? Those are some good photos.
yeah.
This man's too humble. Doesn't think he's
That was
sexy.
that was a good
Get
find.
that out of
Yeah,
here.
the camping spot was a good find. That was that was great.
That was a really fun trip. We'll have to do that
Um,
again. But anyway, we tangent. We digress.
yeah. Let's see. Craft, community, meaningful career. Um, yeah. What have you made any strides in the last week in any of those three fronts? And it's okay if you didn't. It's been only a week.
I am pursuing a meaningful career. Like to me, it's very important to be working somewhere that one you feel supported in. You're working on something very interesting, and
Mm-hmm.
you feel well compensated, whatever the fair market value is. And I was reading some Simon Sinek, right? I love that guy, and one of my
You
books
do.
right now is "Leaders Eat Last," and I should find the quote I highlighted, but it was basically something like, "It doesn't really matter about the position you're in, whether you're a high level exec or more entry level. It's kind of a ratio between how much you feel valued and compensated versus the work you're doing and enjoy it." And I thought that was a really interesting ratio he talked about. I still need to read more into it, but I can find that. As you can tell, neither of us are very prepared, but we'll be more prepared in the future. This is episode 2. So
Yeah.
with that, I really have been thinking a lot about how do I balance, and I think we've talked about it a lot too, and it's cool that we're, continuing that conversation here, is how does one think about happiness and how does one think about work in relationship to one's livelihood slash personal life, and how does one find like a good balance between all of that that also feels kind of weighted in a grounded way slash you
Yeah.
know yeah, feels balanced. That's
Yeah.
what I've been thinking about that a lot.
Yeah. I think the tricky thing is everyone, depending on their circumstance and depending on their goals, kind of like draws that balance differently,
Yeah,
and like different are grounded by different things. And so I think at best we can try to find a good balance for ourselves, and it will definitely not apply to everyone else. But yeah, I guess I think it's safe to assume there are probably some patterns that make sense for most people. Like if there's something that can be automated, you should probably be the one trying to automate it. Um, Little things like that. I don't have any more. Um,
do you think there's
but
any like what are yeah I wonder if there's like Warren Buffett. I always really liked the quote of him. He once had. I'm just wondering if there's like a baseline model, right? Like, what are the baselines that kind of are not, common denominators for every person that kind of thread throughout? But maybe that's not. Maybe we can go into this as we're more prepared on it. But it is an idea of a conversational topic, I guess. As we should make a list of many, and then come with like, I don't know. I wonder how we can like up our game. I'm soaked. I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah. So I listened to an interesting interview yesterday. Have you ever heard of MysteryGuitarMan?
No.
Well,
wait, is he classic? He's like an OG YouTuber, right?
Yeah.
Hey, I think I remember him a while back. Okay.
Yeah, he made a bunch of really cool stop motion.
Yes, he's a stop motion guy. Oh, he's very, very talented. He spent so much time on all of that. Okay.
Yeah, and so I don't know how I found it, but I think it was like 3:30 a.m. yesterday, and I was just like, what happened to MysteryGuitarMan? And turns out he stopped posting on his YouTube channel around 2 years ago, and this is with like 2+ million subscribers, and he is a film director now.
Cool.
And he directed a film called Arctic, with some famous actor in it, and it's kind of like making his next film, and seems like he's doing pretty well in that world. And the most interesting part was, like, do you think if someone had a YouTube channel with more than 2 million subscribers, that might help them with like becoming a film director?
I think he was really talented. Having a minimal insight into that field, but having worked in the film industry for a bit, I think just I do think having the name and the 2 million rep for sure, but also the amount of skill he must have gained.
Oh yeah.
He showed a lot of director qualities, just needed more of an opportunity, I think.
Yeah, and editing and all of that. But yeah, so he, on his way to Greenland to film the movie, after like everyone had signed on, like the person funding the film was like, oh, what is this MysteryGuitarMan thing? And he was like, wait, you don't like you don't know what this is? And he's like, yeah, what is that? And so he didn't become a director because of any merit from his YouTube channel. It was because he had co-written a script that was really good, and he got the right people involved, and like people took a bet on him. So that was just really interesting to me, because it was like, oh, wouldn't he? I mean, I'm sure there was an advantage with promoting the movie and marketing it and all of that, and like people like me listening to that interview, because otherwise I would have no idea who he was. Like, I don't care about the film industry. But yeah, I thought that was so funny, because even he was like, oh, I thought that's why you guys wanted to work with me. But
that's amazing. That's actually really cool. I feel like it's really cool. Yeah, I guess everyone has their different ways to succeed. I just watched a YouTube video the other day called The Red Paper Clip. Have you ever heard about that? I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah, that was cool.
And so it seems like at first it was very organic. No one knew him. But after a while, it seems like people were wanting to make deals because they started to understand where the product he was trading had come from a red paper clip in the beginning, right? Mm-hmm. So I think it got more and more renowned. But yeah, that's really cool how the MysteryGuitarMan was able to kind of, without that previous accolades, get that script based just on merit. If that's the case, that's awesome.
Yeah. Cool. I guess that's also a little bit encouraging for people like you and me, It's like, you can make a podcast. Just make good content. And I think we're still figuring out the good content part and and everything else, but
I love that
it's
tie
slightly
back.
encouraging.
That was actually such a cool tie back. That was so well done. Yeah, I love it. That was so motivational. It came out of nowhere. I feel motivated. That was awesome. I think so. I do believe that our first podcast was actually pretty interesting in a number of aspects. We had some good combos and some good tangents. I do think, it would have been interesting to know the actual monetary figure that the architect was getting paid. Because right when I had that, mom was like, "How much was he getting paid? Why didn't you ask?" I was like, "I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry."
Oh, I did ask, and we did talk about it. I just didn't want to make it public.
What's an average of that? Yeah, exactly. So if he's listening and stuff, you don't want to be spilling that type of stuff.
I only have so many architect friends. I can't.
Oh man,
do
let's Google this. We're gonna have to. I'm Googling it.
I also want to say that USA is not the most per capita lawyers. I was actually wrong about that. It's the second most.
Already
fake news.
Oh my gosh, we're already fake news generators. This is terrible. That's cool.
But I talked to 2 friends this week that I'm cajoling them into being guests on the podcast. But I also want to do like 10 episodes before we bring on people.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, let's see. So what is the average architect's salary by state in 2021? It seems like it can go between 50 to 120. Okay, interesting. I'm looking at Massachusetts annual salary 87, Hawaii 86,000, New York 82, Arizona.
I think that's fine.
Yeah, interesting. That makes sense. Anyways, I had to answer that for my mom. 69,000 mom in Arizona. And then, okay, cool. That's pretty impressive. Massachusetts making some bank over there. 42 average hourly wage as an architect. And then Hawaii. I'd be down to be an architect in Hawaii. Let's do that. All right. Anyways, so that's probably that's average. So I'm sure the scale goes like even way higher. But what is, as we continue to try to improve this podcast, one, I do think we need to improve just ideation feedback loops. And if we do ever have any viewer feedback loops there for ideas, how do people leave comments or questions on things? Like if my mom was like, how much is an average salary? Or what is that thing you mentioned about Warren Buffett just a bit ago, Hugh, and you totally didn't mention anything more about it? Like, how do people ask questions or interact and engage? We don't have a Twitter, I guess, but
leave it in the comments below.
Right. On YouTube, but what about podcasts? But like,
I need to release that. I think as a review. So it's a little bit harder to make a comment on a podcast, but
I don't know. Do we want to be having comment questions on podcast reviews or maybe comments on YouTube?
People are not even listening, so
I do think we don't have to worry about that right now. No. I'm genuinely interested. How would I, as a user, leave feedback? Would it be should we have a Twitter profile to tweet at?
We just tweet out episodes.
Yeah, so like on Clubhouse, not again, but I'm referring to them again. It's interesting. So when they built out the product, they didn't have a fully built product, and they don't have a DMing system. So what they do is they have users write out their Twitter profiles, and they say, okay, if you need to talk, go to Twitter. And it's happened to me a few times. Sorry, there's a phone in the background. I didn't get it. But the people just kind of use Twitter and rely on that open source, code, not open source, but that code, the DMing code to DM each other. I was like, oh, that's cool. I wonder if we could do that for like tweeting or questions or stuff, just like at moonteapodcast or moonteapodcast.
Let's see if it's available before we release this episode.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be moonteapodcast. If someone else, we need we're gonna have to change our name on YouTube. 2, podcast. 3, have it on Twitter. And I think it'll be solid.
Cool.
All right.
Well, I give you the freedom to do the Twitter stuff.
Hi. Arigato. I'll do it.
I mean, I'm sure we can also automate it, but we can talk about that later. Like automate showing the videos, but we can talk about it later. Kind of like how I automated my my Instagram art channel.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Oh, did I not tell you?
This is awesome. What? You automated your Instagram art channel?
Yeah. Or profile or handle.
Yeah, your profile.
I'm so removed from the Instagram world. I actually don't know the right terminology.
Hey man, as long as it makes sense to us, it makes sense. It's all good. What'd you do there? That's cool.
Yeah. So for the one or two listeners out there.
Yeah, let's start with that. We have one or two listeners, or two listeners that aren't us.
For Hugh's dad, maybe one of Jon's coworkers that he sent the link to. Okay. Well, I've never considered myself an artist, and about a month ago, I kind of had this realization that maybe I can be an artist if I want to be an artist, and I'm just gonna like make stuff and put it out there and kind of see what happens. And so what I did was I've been drawing like kind of, I call them scribbles, but I do like one or two a day, and I don't want to deal with, it's like the problem is I don't want to deal with any of the like uploading, and I don't want to deal with like posting to Instagram and like writing down hashtags and all of that. And so but the good news is there are tools that help you automate it. And so what I do is I, like on my own time, I do one or two scribbles a day, and every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, I upload all of them from the desktop application. I have a script that rotates the images, converts it into JPEG, and then puts them all into a folder. From that folder, I upload it to a one of these, like the free tier of this like social media management tool. And so I upload it onto there, and I just copy paste the hashtags that I used before, and then I schedule my posts.
And nice. So what's the name of the tool?
The tool is called later.com. I think they should get a shout out because they make my life a lot easier. But yeah, I like don't have the Instagram app. I look at it once in a while to celebrate if I get a new follower. So I've celebrated 5 times so far, getting pretty big.
I love it.
And yeah, like it's just like one a day. And
see, that's super cool that you have the ability to kind of write some scripts if and when you want to, or understand tech. I guess a lot of it's pre-built out to kind of use it to automate the process, but thinking like an automation engineer is really cool. I love it.
Yeah, nothing fancy. Like you don't need to know how to code to do anything that I did.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. So I made him sound really cool, but he's still cool.
Yeah, so my next project is to automate liking everyone else's photos.
I like it. That's pretty fun.
And yeah, I'll report back if I ever figure out how to do that, because I'm sure there are tools out there. I haven't looked into it, but if I just automate liking, like you can follow hashtags, and if I just like every photo, then people are gonna be like, oh, who's this page, and then that'll reach more engagement. So I'm not opposed to kind of like doing these little things for a broader outreach, but I am opposed to doing like manual tasks that I don't want to do. So I think that'll be a fun project to automate it. And I suspect it's pretty doable. I also suspect it's against the Facebook terms of service. So there are probably ways to work around it, but yeah.
Dude, I love it. That'll be cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And my plan is to do a scribble or two every day for like a year, and then see if I got better.
I love it. I have a question, and it's a curious one. I was talking to my dad about kind of what we were aiming to do here about craft community, pursuit of building a meaningful career. And he was like, community. And then he was talking about community for a while. And then we were mentioning how, I was like, and Jon trying to be an artist. And he's like, it's interesting. And he asked a good question. I was like, what's the definition of an artist? And it really got me thinking. So I know there's a lot, like, what makes someone an artist, Jon?
Well, that's also what I'm wrestling with, because
right? Yeah.
I think if you want to be an artist, you can be an artist. Like there's no artist society. There's no artist like law review or like board.
Right.
And so yes, it's just like an identity thing.
That's and so like, what is it that makes an artist for as an identity? Like Van Gogh and people, they painted till they lost an ear, right? And some people are incredibly talented that way. But also, like, does everyone have to be a Van Gogh to be an artist?
Well, I initially wanted to say you might not be asking an artist expert, but if we don't have, like, if Picasso is not in the room and no one else in the room went to art school, then it's like, okay, well, I guess anyone can be an artist in this room.
Yeah. Do you have to go to art school? Do you have to, like, and I'm not trying to be subversive or like anybody can be an artist. I do believe anybody can be an artist. I'm just wondering, is it for intentions? Like, are you an artist if you make a drawing and think and have the goals of this drawing selling for $1 million from the get-go? Or like, when is there, or is that always there? Like, or is just being an artist someone who has this passion to create something in an artistic medium, whatever that is, and if they themselves find it to be beautiful, I don't think it's narcissistic, but is it good enough to have someone, just a one person themselves or one other person, enjoy that work? And does that make it art? Or like, what makes art / artistry? I'm genuinely curious, and I do believe you're an artist.
Yeah, I mean, there are times when I look at people's code and I just think like, wow, this is really good code.
Oh my gosh, it's seriously, amen to that.
And
amen to that.
So yeah, definitely. I mean, I think at this point most people are not, like, the thing about art is that it's tied to creativity and like your own expression, and so like it doesn't have to be an oil, like something that you use a paintbrush for on a canvas. And to me art means rethinking a lot of those notions in a way that is uniquely yours. And again, I've never considered myself artsy. I've never been an artist. But yeah, I'm wrestling with that. And that's part of like the reason why I'm just being like, I'm an artist. Like someone like make me really think about what burden I'm taking on by saying that. And so far no one has challenged that. So I'm just being like, I'm an artist.
I love it. I have such a big smile right now. I love it. I really do. I'm so curious about, go for it. What?
Well, yeah, question right back at you.
Oh, no.
as someone who actually has done artsy things and actually has some skill.
What have I done that's artsy?
Design work. You made our piggy logo.
No. I definitely stole that. I'm not. I really don't. I genuinely don't think I'm actually. I'm not even trying to be humble. I really don't think I'm an artist.
Wait, you stole that logo?
Yeah, no, it's not stolen, but it's like a third party open source software thing that you kind of tweak it. But the I mean, there's like a fine line with how much there's only so much you can do in this world. We'll need a custom logo someday, but it's custom enough, right? Okay, try to find that logo and then call me out, sue me. I'm just kidding. Basically, no, I don't think I'm an artist. And that's not a bad thing. I struggled with that. Like I grew up. My sister's the artist. Like I can show you her paintings from when she was a kid. Unbelievable stuff. Went through to art history, arts, everything. Always drawing and taking these incredible art classes and drawing, painting. And for me, I like drew this dog and a house and like stick figure looks when I went to art class with her when I was a kid. And yeah, I used to struggle with it. Personally, I never thought I could draw. Don't think I can still I really still don't think I can draw. One day, just for fun, I graduated college in 2015 with a BA. And then in like 2017, I decided to go take an MCC, like a community college course in Art 101 and art history as well. And so I did that, and I finally learned. That's when I had this insecurity my whole life of like, I can't draw. I'm not an artist. I don't know how to draw. And I took a class for a semester and I learned how to draw a square and a circle. And they are some badass squares and circles. I have them in my sister's room, have them above her old bed. And there's my square, my circle. And that's how I look. And I'm like, I did it. I learned to draw and I never improved since, but that's okay to me. With that being said, see, yeah, I struggle with the question of what is art, right? I create for work that I think is beautiful. I do create meaningful objects. If I wanted to distill UX and UI and product design down to a core concept, it's two things. It's listening to customers and getting product feedback to like brainstorm what it is, to be able to good at like brainstorming. And the second main thing is I really kind of facetiously say, I just do a bunch of squares, circles, and text and colors. And that's what I do. And or did before I started to transition a bit more into a strategic role. But like to me, is that art? I don't know, maybe. I mean, it looks good. I think my designs are pretty solid, but I don't know. I wonder if it's about intent or if it's about, as you're saying, like the freedom to create on your own with no one else, because I'm paid for it. I've conflated art and work, and yeah, some people it works for them, but for me, I don't know. I just kind of like, I don't really think, like I go off of Pinterest. Like, let's be real. I look at Pinterest. I look at what my favorite benchmarks are. I used to have a creative director at Airbnb, and the one I never was a UI UX designer there, but I once got one thing of feedback from him. Like 2 years after I had to go back home to Arizona, I like went back there, and I always had this chip on my shoulder. I was like, I need to show this creative director some of my UX UI portfolio, or else I will just never feel complete. And I finally like brought it to him one day because I went and visited the office, and I like get, I can just basically walk around the office when I knew a lot of people there still. And I showed it to him, and he was nice enough to give me some time. And yeah, it was the first and last time I ever got a professional top notch like creative director to critique my work. And I like really appreciate it. And he was like, these look good. He's this crazy cool Swedish guy. These look good, Hugh. You should benchmark though. And I was like, what's that? And so benchmarking is really big. But yeah, basically, I don't know. I just kind of like look at Pinterest, find all the top things I think are as high as benchmarks as I can go. And then I kind of like pick and steal features. Let's be real. And like I pick colors and text boxes, input fields, and things that I like, and I max them together and then put a color scheme on them and then try to build a quote unquote architecture for it. And I'm like, is this art? I don't know. It's kind of like glorified stealing.
Well, yeah, I mean, this could be a conversation of its own. Um, like the idea of, is there anything truly original, or
Yeah, that's
are
a
we
deep one.
stealing like our website right now is stolen from like 2 or 3 different websites, and kind of with like whatever flavor, like whatever I thought of to make it a little bit different. But I'm sure those websites were also copied from other websites, and so um, yeah, no shame unless I'm literally copying word for word, or like copying images. And um, yeah, um, I guess it would be cool to have a real artist on here, and just kind of like grill him or her.
Uh-oh. I just kicked my mic. Hold on 1 second. What'd I do? Oopsies. Can you hear me?
You there? Yeah, I can hear
sorry
you.
about that. All right, what were you
You're,
saying? You got an artist on?
yeah, it'd be cool to have an artist on and who can answer those questions. Uh, fun story. Fun story. One time I was in Hong Kong, and I was looking for a Starbucks, and I went outside. There was this white man, and I said, "Hey, do you know where the nearest Starbucks is?" And he said, "No, but I'm going to an art show. Do you want to come?" And I said,
That's
"Yeah,
really
sure."
cool.
And
Really cool.
uh, and it was interesting because it was one of those shows. It was one of those pop-up art shows where you just kind of walk around, and you're like, what the heck is this? Like, I remember there was a rusty fence just just on there, and then like with a little piece of paper in front of it. And he walks up to me. He's like, "So what do you think?" And I was just like, what the heck is this? Like, I could take a dump, like get a branch, smear it on
Oh my
like
god. Oh
a
my
wall
god.
somewhere, and then
What?
throw some paint on it, and then just like use my face to
You did not
to
just.
like do a paintbrush, used as a paintbrush. And I was like, and that could fit in this, like that could fit like with the rest of
Oh
these
my
pieces.
god, dude.
And
No.
I mean, I didn't say
To make
that,
an
but
NFT token off of it too and sell it for six hundred
right.
thousand dollars. Okay, anyways, nerd joke. We'll explain NFT tokens in a future episode. But yeah,
um
wow, that's funny.
and the coolest thing happened. He he walked around, he walked me around the exhibit, and explained how he sees every single piece of art. And he said, like, he would just be like, yeah, for this piece, like you have to look at the history, like look at like what happened with Hong Kong and Britain. And when you know that these things happened, like it makes you think about like this side of culture. And it was like, it was one of those things where you could just take word for word what he's saying, and that like he's just speaking essay. And like you could like make a book of short stories about like how to describe art. But yeah, it was really cool. And like I left at the end of it, I was just like, wow, this is so beautiful.
Love it.
um
Have
but
you ever
yeah,
watched? Oh, sorry, I
yeah,
totally cut you off.
unfortunately, that's not a common kind of person that I run into. So that
Have
was
you
the
ever
only time.
watched the movie called The Scent of a Woman?
No.
There's that one famous actor. I don't remember my actor names, and he's a blind guy and a bit off the charts. And he's one day with the main character, who's a younger guy, and the girl that he's flirting with, and this older gentleman who's kind of like a grandpa figure is really good at tango. Hears tango music, and he looks at the woman and he's like, "Would you like to tango with me?" And she's like, "I've never tangoed. I'm a bit afraid." And he's like, "Don't worry." And he like takes her, and she was really cool to have been like open to it and like just open to learning. And it's a movie, of course, but at the end of it, like they do this incredible tango scene, and it's called "Por la Cabeza" is the song. Like I know the song, I don't remember the actors' names, and it's a beautiful song and it's beautiful violin melody, and it's just so potent a mix. Um, and it's one of my favorite scenes ever. But at the end of it, she's kind of in awe because she did incredible tango moves with such crisp hits because he was such a good lead. And one of my favorite quotes of it was, he's like, something, you can live a lifetime in a few minutes, and sometimes people miss it, basically. And I think that's really cool in the sense of, and that's something I really do hope one day we can grow this to possibly have more of a communication with people like this, as you've just mentioned, where the artists that you're talking with, or appreciator of art, or both, they're able to, one, not just be really appreciative and knowledgeable about it, but they're able to communicate such beautiful story and prose behind it all. I don't know if it's prose, that's poetry, but it basically sounds like prose to your ear, right? When you hear it and you just like come away with like, oh, and you're like, whoa. And then 3 weeks later, you're like, I don't remember half of 20% of what he said, but I know it was incredible. And I remember the feeling, right? You remember what people make you feel, not what they say. And in that same sense, I really do hope that could be something we can kind of pursue on this show, is how do we ourselves, and not just our listeners, live lifetimes in a few minutes, if not an hour or two,
That's a
and be
lot of
excited about it.
lifetimes.
Right? I'm excited.
Yeah.
I really do hope so. It'll be cool.
I like how he had this really nice quote, which was, sometimes you can live a lifetime in a few minutes.
Yeah.
Like, really nice to hear. But at the same time, the song is called For the Head.
Por la cabeza. I know. I think it is. Yeah. I mean, it's not anything sexual, I don't think, but it is.
Oh no, I just mean, like, for the head doesn't seem as poetic as.
Por una cabeza, I think. Por una cabeza.
Okay, for a head. All right.
And it's by, it's the tango original. Yeah, if you look, it's beautiful. It's Por una cabeza. Oh God, yeah. You can't go. Just watch that scene on YouTube. Just Scent of a Woman, Por una cabeza, tango scene.
Ah.
So good. Anyways,
Huh.
I digress. I'm a terrible person. I need to figure out how to time block this better, where we can just talk for a bit longer. And that is something I want to talk about because I have 5 minutes. Is one, I want to be a better person and just have open-ended time slots for this. Two, this week was just totally random. Things happened. And three, what are your thoughts, Jon, regarding long form content, and should episodes always be average an hour? Oh no, there's no should, but like, or do you think sometimes we kind of ramble too much and it should be shorter, 30 minutes? Or do you think we should have them called audibles where it just depends on where we go? Or should we, because like if there was 2 hours of us talking, I honestly don't know how, I think it could be decently interesting for a bit, but I don't know. Maybe it is the right thing. I just don't know what the right way, like, because I feel like we have a lot to talk about. We could probably talk another hour, but is this actually of any benefit to people? I think kind of, but I don't even know if it's interesting. Like, is it?
I think we could talk about this for more than 5 minutes, and we can continue it after. The short answer is I don't know, and the slightly longer answer is like, we could just put it up. We could just put it up, and I suspect that consistency, more so than kind of like thinking about the details, is more beneficial to us right now. Because I'm sure if we get a really good clip and we post that, then that could be useful. But who's gonna edit that, or like which one of us is gonna edit it?
Yeah, I mean, that's not the more marketing side, but just in general though, like, is long form content like this, like, people are busy. I guess they could listen at it 2x, but how often do you? I don't know. I guess I'm wrestling in the same way you're wrestling of like artistry. This is the closest form to art that I am coming to, right? And whether or not it's art is arguable, but to me, it's kind of like trying to do something without the goal of fame, really. I just kind of want to enjoy it. And so I don't know. I do you think this, at least let's start there, the meta convos that we've had in this conversation, should I take this offline and like talk to you on text and phone call on Slack, or should we talk about this on a recording that gets posted?
Well, I think we'll have figured out more of that stuff as we go on. Like I'm not expecting us to have good content in the very beginning. And also I have no expectation of anyone listening, especially now. And so like I'm
through an hour of this.
Yeah. But
I'm sorry.
My perspective is that we just do it consistently. And cool. I don't know if you saw, but someone commented on our YouTube video.
They did? I didn't
know.
The
last one. And I don't know who that person is. So someone might have listened to part of it. Hugh, you inspired someone.
You inspired someone then. 81 views? Whoa, that's actually kind of cool. What do they say? Wow, nice job, cool topics. Oh, that's Rezer. That's my one of my best friends. His name's John as well. That's Jon G.
Jon G.
Jon G.
Jon G. Thanks for your comment.
I don't know if I should say full names, but Jon G. Should I? No, it's not his full name. I kind of said it. I don't remember. I kind of mumbled it. Anyways, Jon G. What a homie. All right, but okay. If that's I guess we'll just figure it out. We'll make it more honed and fine-tuned over time as we pick topics. But I personally enjoy, I guess my feedback is, before we end the topic up, I personally enjoy not having the stress right now, at least, to like really hone in on things. But I do think it could be cool to kind of every now and then solidify on a topic that we do research on beforehand. And then
I agree.
I think we'll figure that one out. But today I think was interesting. I do think there's interesting tidbits. Do you want to, as an actionable, 2 things? First, next week we do this and we'll just kind of figure out a topic to try to like have as a theme.
Wait, should we end the podcast first? So that
no. Second question. And the second question is, sorry people, it sucks, is on Saturday, do you want to do our first Clubhouse really quick? Do you want to do it for 30 minutes?
Sure.
All right. And so my time, 10 a.m. PST, or your time, 10 a.m. MST?
I don't know. I might go on a hike. Okay. We can find a time that works, like sometime Saturday or Sunday.
All right. Maybe Sunday then, or something like that.
Yeah. It also partially depends on the weather, but
all right. Let's
we can Perfect. Yeah, we can figure it out. Do you want to say the outro?
All right, let's do this. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and thank you again for tuning into the Moon Tea Podcast. I am Hugh Berryman, one of the hosts, and this is
John,
who's the other gracious and amazing host. Anyways, we've come to the conclusion of our second podcast, where we talk about craft, community, and the pursuit of building meaningful careers. And in this one, I guess, what the heck we're even doing and how we even strategize about this. With that being said, thank you again for tuning in, and hopefully you decently enjoyed this. We had a good time, I'm sure. Have a great day, and talk to you next time. See ya.